Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about narcissistic parent effects we hate the most. In talking with clients and talking with people that I've worked with and my own research, I come down to a few basic kind of effects that narcissistic parents have on their children, from childhood up through adulthood even. And these 6 are what I want to share with you today. First of all, manipulation. We all know that narcissists are great manipulators. They play mind games. They use gaslighting, love bombing, editing, which means they just cancel out and that's a part of what gaslighting is also. They just edit the past and say, this is the way things really are. They use guilt and shaming and guilt tripping so that we will be manipulated into doing certain things. And they're very good at using these types of manipulations to control other people, to control family members, and to control their children. So manipulating is a number one common problem that adult children of narcissists experience. Number 2 is emotional abuse. Narcissistic parents can be emotionally abusive, which can lead to feelings of anger, sadness, resentment, depression. And again, we might have guilt tripping, which is part of the manipulation. We might have shaming, which is a part of emotional abuse. Shaming, being hypercritical. I remember a recent situation in which a person's father had called them an effing asshole. And then he writes her a letter and says how much he misses her. Why doesn't she contact him? Why doesn't she do this? And I love you and all of that. And again, part of that is gaslighting. He forgets all about the effing asshole part. He doesn't apologize for that. Doesn't even bring it up. And hey, let's have a good relationship now. But I don't want to take responsibility for my own actions. And I was emotionally abusive. But oh, never mind that. When narcissistic parents are emotionally abusive, they consider that either a right or something that's normal and should not be looked upon as having any indication of how much they love you. In other words, oh, I love you so much, and then I will steal your money, call you names, do all that. But, oh, don't let that change how much I care about you. And they will talk like that, write like that, email you like that. And it's maddening. And we hate that effect. It is something that many are very frustrated about, which is why I work with clients and work with viewers about their anger and frustration, because if you've lived with that for decades, we then accumulate quite a bit of anger and frustration about it because we hate it. Thirdly, a lack of validation. Adult children hate that their feelings and experiences were often invalidated or dismissed by a narcissistic parent. Well, why do you feel that way? Oh, that's not right. Well, you shouldn't be mad at your dad for saying that because what you were doing was making me upset, and so that's why I said it. But I love you. Wait a minute, Dad, you can't even control your own emotions. And what I was saying or doing did not come up to the situation appropriateness where you would need to call me a name. That's so rude and so bad. Dad's immune to that. He doesn't realize that. That doesn't even go into his head. He just wants everything to be okay now, and let's just forget about all that. Because, basically, if I was wrong, you were wrong too. Because there's always this parity or this sense of equivalency that even though I did something wrong, remember you were doing something wrong. So that all just gets whitewashed. And so a lack of validation is something we hate. And I think that that's common for a lot of people. So if we get into marriages and we have a spouse who seems to be invalidating our feelings or experience, we can become very reactive, which is why I think it's important to heal from those past experiences with a narcissistic parent. Because maybe the spouse really didn't mean that. I mean, spouses are imperfect. They can, they might invalidate your feelings or experience sometime, but it's not because they're a narcissist. Maybe they have some immaturities, as we all do, but they don't mean it in a hurtful, mean way. Now, some spouses might. Everybody's experiences are unique, and I understand that. And I'm talking about the middle, kind of the general. I'm talking to a generic people who grew up with narcissistic parents, but that may not be true for everyone. But I think these are common problems. If you want more answers and work that you can do to overcome these things, I have a program listed down in the description, Your New Road to Self, and a year's worth of weekly, monthly group meetings with me live. Please join, and I think you'll find a new road to self for you can be hugely beneficial. Number 4, low self-esteem. We hate that effect, the effect of low self-esteem. Well, how is that different than invalidation, Jerry? Aren't they kind of the same? Well, they're cousins. They are similar, but low self-esteem is growing up with that self-doubt. And again, lack of validation can create self-doubt. But there's a lot of other self-doubting things going on, and also where we may dislike ourselves and be critical of ourselves, and we internalize the narcissistic parent. And then we take that parent with us on out of the family as we get launched into the world, and we take that narcissistic inner parent with us. And now it creates low self-esteem because we feel self-doubt. I don't know if this is right or not. I don't know if this is what I really want or not want. I don't know, because that's one of the effects of a narcissistic parenting. The programming that we get from the parent to see myself in the most negative light. Always seeing myself in the most negative light. And again, the narcissistic parents tend to be glass half empty. You may look fine, but you don't look fantastic, so then you look bad. Again, it's always the more negative side of things rather than, hey, you look fine. But no, it has to be there's something wrong. We need to fix that. You need to fix that. You're not coming up to my standards. And again, narcissistic parents have they're either neglectful or they have very high standards, which creates self-doubt and creates low self-esteem. Number 5, difficulty forming healthy relationships. Adult children of narcissists may struggle with forming and maintaining healthy relationships due to the patterns they learned in their upbringing. I don't think that's a big aha moment for most adult children of narcissists, but often we do have trouble with relationships, and we hate that effect that our parent had on us, that effect where my relationships don't work well. I'll have friends and they come in and they go out. I'll have someone that I thought I could trust and then they're not trustworthy. And I have someone I want to be close with and then they end up having trouble with intimacy problems. So we have trouble with relationships. And that has to do with a good part of what we learn from our narcissistic parents about what relationships are about. Oftentimes, many times those relationships are about either control or fear or avoiding reactivity or guilt. If you primarily have been programmed to just live your life to avoid guilt, then you're going to get into relationships where you live your life to avoid guilt. that interferes with having a healthy relationship. And that's why we hate that effect. Again, the online program, I think, could be something that could be helpful for you in healing in those ways. Before I share my last one, I just want to say, please be sure to subscribe. Make comments. We read your comments. Click like. That helps the video tremendously. These videos are provided free to folks so they can begin to understand their own journey. And I've been doing that for many years. I also have another video that is out that is on why the narcissistic parent hated you. I think you would find that a very helpful video as well. Number 6, the power they wield in the family. We hated that effect because power was always something that was very important in the family. Who's in control? Who's up? Who's down? And it was a constant battle. And the narcissist would often yield the most power of anyone in the family. And I believe many who have talked about, say they have one parent who is the narcissist, often the other parent was either neglectful, passive, codependent, would pacify the other parent. And this would cause great difficulties for us as children growing up, and even later in life as adults. That power differential is something we hated. It was like we all weren't equal as human beings. And I understand parents and adults have a certain wisdom. Kids have a certain need to grow and learn and experiment. But that's if you have a healthy view of power. If you don't, then it becomes a very power-oriented family, and it's always about power. And I think that's an effect that many adult children of narcissists hate, having that power differential being so strong one way. Because when you become more healthy and more an adult, I don't have to be in control of everything. I don't have to have all the power. It's often an illusion anyway, but, power is something that we learn to use in a healthy way when we become healthy as adults. I want to thank you for watching today. I hope you have a great day, and be wise.